Many of us in this very busy world are often required, or we assume that we're required, to do many things at once. And there has been, a bit of a trend towards what's been referred to as multitasking over the last decade or so, and that is, we're all so busy, we can't just do one thing at a time. We need to do multiple things. We need to upskill ourselves so we can cope with lots of things going on at the same time. Whether that's useful or not is debatable. It depends on the person, and it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing routine, mundane tasks that don't require a lot of thought, then multitasking is not such a bad idea. We can do that. We can and we can benefit. And we can save time. However, if at least one or more of those tasks requires a degree of cognitive function, if it requires some thinking, some reflection, some input, more than just sort of automatic responses, then multitasking is not necessarily a good idea. And in fact, what we know that when people do multitask is that every time they switch their attention, every time they change from one thing to another thing, they lose productivity, they lose time. It takes a certain amount of time to switch off from one thing and on to another thing. And so that can be a matter of seconds or minutes every time you change tasks. And that's a waste of effort, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of productivity. So the simple answer is multitasking can work sometimes, but only when the tasks you're engaged with, as I said earlier, are automatic, routine, fairly simple tasks. If you're engaged in something that requires creativity or some more thought, then it's better to do one thing at a time. And one of the things we know about happy people is that they're better at focusing and living in the moment and really doing one thing and doing it really well. But as a general rule, for most people whose work requires them to use some thinking, I'd say that we could probably do better more often if we focused on one thing at a time, we do that thing really, really well, and we really engage in that task, and we finish it and then move on.